Before that time.
That's the physics behind, for example,
another question people
the
ask
actual change of
under
mass.
the ultimate question about
During
the prophet.
the course of the 7 years,
Ethics and
the book was put together.
Jefferson actually started this country with an idea of equality, and I just want to run you down that road a little bit, because in fact when Jefferson wrote these ideas, there was a competing founding father, John Randolph, who actually wrote back to Jefferson, thought the ideas were delusional, and those ideas are the ones that are in the Declaration of Independence, which go, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among them is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Now, Randolph thought that the idea of equality is delusional, especially when both of them, unfortunately, were slaveholders. Yeah. So it was obvious, and women, of course, they had their place in society as well, but neither one of them actually believed that all men were created equal in the sense of everyone having the same comforts as the ruling class of America at the time. So Mr. Milton Friedman also enters the fray here. He says that this idea of equality, that everybody's on an even playing field, is also a misnomer, and he writes volumes on this issue. What are your feelings from Islamic perspective? Does God create us all equal before Him, and how does that relate itself to being just?
Well, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, addressed this directly in his farewell pilgrimage, when he said to his followers, there's no superiority of the black over the white, or the white over the black. There's no superiority of the Greek over the Arab, or the Arab over the Greek. That as in the eyes of God, you are as equal as the teeth of a comb, except in your piety, which he repeated 3 times, except in your piety. So the idea is that spiritually, all human beings are created equal. At creation, we are equal. What happens through our lives on a spiritual level is really we're responsible for. But this is not to say that we are identical in our talents, as was pointed out earlier, or and certainly not in our economic status. So our economic status, whether justly or unjustly, is going to be varied, and some are going to be wealthier than others. Yes. This, however, it's very important, extremely important, that one not try to deduce from someone's economic status, or for that matter with their natural talents, what their spiritual status is, because then you will be sorely mistaken.
Now, Friedman says that the concept of equal before God can be interpreted as equal before the law. Do you agree with this?
Law before God, it's nice if law reflects this kind of equality that God has. In this country, there's always been this, and Jefferson certainly faced it, and he noticed the contradiction about not including the black man as a player. And you know, the Apostle Paul early on was talking, there's no Greek, male or female. There is this sense that this is an imperfect world, but this is the direction it should be going. Right. And I think in this country we've been struggling who's included. Right. And who's a full player. And there's always been, well, certain immigrant groups are not, be they Irish or Italian or Eastern European or Russian.
Or the newcomer.
Yeah, and yeah, the newcomer, essentially. You know, Lincoln wants to abolish slavery, but we don't want these German immigrants, the Know-Nothing Party. And he said, what's given up? I'm supposed to fight for the freedom for others and exclude others. Yes. And so I think there is this sense that we're all valued, but there is in the law oftentimes great inequality, and that is the big contradiction. Where is the justice when the law, you know, runs counter this idea that everybody should have equal opportunity and is equally valued?
But I think that this concept that this spiritual equality implies and necessitates a legal equality is absolutely clear if you look at Jefferson's correspondence with a professor who wrote to Jefferson contesting Jefferson's belief that that in some respects the black man was not equal to the white, not spiritually, but he believed in certain abilities, perhaps, abilities. And this professor said he denied this, that he said it was just their, their captivity and their historical experience rather than something innate in themselves. And Jefferson responded with a very interesting response. He said, I hope you're right. Nothing would please me more. Right. But my point is that question is beside the point. They are entitled to equality before the law, whether it's true or not.
Hit it! Hit it! Hit it! Hit it!